Who the hell is Brandon? That's what I said while holding her phone, unlocked, trembling in my hand, as she stood there, half naked in the bathroom, mascara smeared, towel slipping off her shoulder. Her face went pale. Frozen. I had just read everything. Their messages. The photos. The voice notes. The hotel confirmations. One from last Friday, the night she told me she was with her sister, watching a movie. Give it back, she snapped, suddenly turning into someone else. Not the woman I married. Not even close. You had no right. I laughed. Cold. Hollow. Because for once, I wasn't the one begging. She tried to snatch the phone, but I held it up like evidence. Like a knife. So this is why you've been working late. So this is why you needed space. And then she said it. The words that burned a scar into my spine. I only married you because I felt sorry for you. But now I deserve someone on my level, younger, ambitious, successful. She didn't even flinch. She just grabbed her bag, the designer one I bought her, and walked right past me. No apology. No guilt. Just pure ice. And me? I stood there with the phone in my hand, my heart hammering against my ribs, replaying that last message Brandon sent her. Can't wait to feel you again tonight. We're the black one I like. Let's make it loud this time. She told me she hated that dress. She told me she was tired. She told me she loved me. All lies. You want to know what betrayal smells like? It's vanilla shampoo and cigarette smoke mixed with the cold stench of a hotel room you didn't even know she was visiting. That night, something broke in me. But I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I planned. Because if she thought she walked away with everything, she had no idea what's coming next. After she walked out, something inside me snapped, but not in the way you might think. I didn't chase after her. I didn't yell. I didn't even touch the phone again. I just sat there in the silence, hearing the last echoes of her heels clicking down the driveway. It wasn't heartbreak. Not yet. It was confusion, fury, and something colder, calculation. The more I thought back, the more things started lining up like pieces of a puzzle I had ignored too long. 3 weeks ago, she said she was at a networking dinner. I'd called her around 10 p.m. just to check in. She didn't answer. Said the music was too loud. But when I asked who was there, she said, just a bunch of boring HR people. Funny, the messages in her phone said otherwise. She was with Brandon, the gym trainer turned dash entrepreneur who posts shirtless selfies on his Instagram like he's auditioning for a reality show. The kind of guy who wears sunglasses indoors and calls women baby girl. I hated him on sight. I didn't even know the guy personally. But from the screenshots, from the way she texted him like she was a damn schoolgirl, I knew he had her. No. She gave herself to him. Willingly. Repeatedly. Without guilt. That's the part that hurt the most. Not the betrayal itself, but how easy it was for her. How she compartmentalized it. She'd kiss me goodnight and then sneak off to video call him once I fell asleep. She'd cook my lunch while texting him what she was going to do to him that night. I even found a message where she said, I wish I could do it right here in our bed. He's too boring to notice anyway. Yeah, that was me. The boring one. The man who rebuilt her credit when she had nothing. The man who skipped 2 job offers to move with her across the country. The man who believed every word she said for the last 6 years. I didn't sleep that night. Instead, I went looking for more. And damn, did I find it. She had a secret folder in her email, titled Receipts. Guess what it had? Plane tickets, hotel bills, dinner reservations, photos, ones I will never be able to unsee. And worse, an apartment lease. In her name. Signed last month. Fully furnished. Downtown. With a second key holder listed. Brandon McAllister. She was leaving me. She'd already left. The night she stood in our bathroom and told me she married me out of pity, that wasn't a breakdown moment. That was a rehearsal. She was already halfway out the door. And me? I was the last to know. The idiot. The backup. The utility husband. I looked at our wedding photo on the shelf. Her eyes sparkled in that picture. My arm was wrapped around her waist. She looked happy. But now I realize maybe she was just proud of her plan. Because everything she ever said to me, the sweet nothings, the loyalty vows, the promises, they were all just setups for her exit. It was like watching someone pull off a perfect heist. And I was the vault. But here's the thing about betrayal. It doesn't destroy you. Not right away. It transforms you. And what was once love becomes clarity. The only question left was, what the hell am I going to do next? She came back the next morning like nothing happened. Waltzed in around 9:15 a.m., holding an overpriced iced coffee and a smug little smile, like the night before was a deleted scene she didn't plan on including in the final cut of her life. I was sitting on the edge of the bed, fully dressed, phone in hand. Waiting. Morning, she chirped, setting her drink on the dresser. You're up early. Everything okay? I didn't answer. I just opened the gallery on her phone, the one she didn't think I had cloned, and held it out to her. She froze. Her smile flickered, then died. A pause. A long one. Then she tilted her head and muttered, You went through my phone? That was her first concern. Not the affair. Not the betrayal. Just the fact that I had pulled back the curtain. You lied to me, I said, keeping my voice steady. For months. She shrugged, and said, It's not what you think. I let out a sharp laugh. Really? Because what I think is that you've been screwing Brandon in hotels while I was at home fixing the leak in your bathroom. Her eyes narrowed. Don't be dramatic. That's what she said. Don't be dramatic. I stood up. You told me you loved me. You looked me in the eye and promised you weren't cheating. And I meant it. Back then, she snapped. But things change. People change. Maybe I just outgrew you. Outgrew me. Like I was an old jacket she didn't want to wear anymore. You could have told me. You could have left. I was trying to protect your feelings, she said, arms folded, now on the defensive. You're fragile. That word hit harder than anything else. Fragile. I had carried this marriage. I paid the bills, fixed every damn thing that broke, supported her through career failures and panic attacks and family drama. I let her cry on my shoulder when her dad died. I picked her up at 3 a.m. when her car broke down on the freeway. And now I was fragile? You're unbelievable, I muttered. She took a deep breath, eyes rolling toward the ceiling like I was the problem here. You want honesty? Fine, she said. Brandon listens to me. He makes me feel alive. And you? You just exist. There it was. Not even a knife. Just blunt force trauma to the soul. Then leave, I told her. Walk out that door and never come back. She grabbed her coffee, took a long, slow sip. Then, with zero emotion, she said, I will. And I'm taking half. My stomach dropped. Half of what? Everything, she said, turning to the closet. The house, the savings, even the dog. You think I didn't plan for this? I was speechless. This wasn't a breakup. This was a robbery. I gave you everything, I said, almost whispering. Everything I had. She looked at me, really looked at me, and her voice dropped to a near whisper. Yeah, and I never asked for any of it. That was the final nail. She had rehearsed these lines, memorized them. Every move was calculated, every emotion fake. But she didn't know something. She didn't know I had already transferred the savings. She didn't know I'd talked to a lawyer. And she sure as hell didn't know what I had planned for Brandon. Let her think she won. Let her walk away proud. Because the game was just starting. After she left, truly left, I just stood there in the hallway, staring at the spot where her perfume still hung in the air like a ghost. You think you'll break things when you get cheated on. You imagine the shouting, the smashing, the get out of my house moment you see in movies. But me? I didn't break anything. I just sat down on the kitchen floor, legs numb, staring at a cracked tile by the fridge and wondering how long it had been broken. Maybe years. Like us. That's when it hit me, the silence. Real silence. The kind that hums in your ears because there's no more arguing, no footsteps, no slammed doors. No fake, I love you, whispered at night. Just me. And a cold. I picked up our wedding photo again. I had set it back on the shelf after she threw it across the room during the fight. It was the only thing that shattered that day. Not her lies. Not the illusion. Just glass. I stared at our faces, trying to remember what it felt like to be happy with her. To believe in her. But all I could think about was that message she wrote to Brandon. I fake it with him all the time. I don't even like how he touches me anymore. That was me. The man she faked it with. I felt sick. I barely made it to the bathroom before throwing up. And after that, I curled up on the bathroom floor for hours. Didn't cry. Didn't sleep. I just lay there. Numb. All those moments we shared, I started to rewatch them in my head like a twisted movie. That weekend trip to Aspen where she said she couldn't wait to start a family. The night I got promoted and she cried tears of joy. The time I broke my wrist and she stayed up with me all night rubbing my hand and saying she couldn't stand seeing me in pain. All of it felt like a damn performance now. How do you move on when the whole timeline of your life suddenly feels fake? That night, I logged into the shared laptop. I found more. Videos. She filmed herself for him. In our bedroom. Wearing my shirt. On our sheets. I slammed the lid shut so hard I cracked the screen. That's when I finally broke. Not furniture. Not walls. Just me. The tears came out of nowhere. Full body sobs. The kind of crying you can't breathe through. I hit the floor again. My hands clutched my head like I could squeeze the memories out if I pressed hard enough. I wasn't just mourning her. I was mourning me, the man I was before all this. The man who believed in love. In loyalty. In her. Now I was just hollow. Friends started texting. Hey man, everything okay? You and Jessica haven't posted together in a while. You guys good? What could I say? Yeah, she left me for a guy with abs and a gym membership. Also, she said she never loved me and wants my dog. No, I didn't answer anyone. I turned off my phone, unplugged the landline, closed the blinds. I needed to disappear for a while. But here's the thing about pain. It carves space inside you. And if you survive it, you'll have room for something new. Something darker. Stronger. Sharper. I wasn't ready to forgive. I wasn't ready to forget. But I was starting to see what had to be done. You know what happens after the crying stops? Silence. Not the kind that hurts, the kind that thinks. The following morning, I made coffee like I had a purpose again. Same mug. Same machine. Same kitchen. But the man drinking it? He wasn't the same anymore. I stood there in my robe, black coffee burning my throat, and watched the neighborhood go by outside. The mailman, Mrs. Hanson walking her dog, a jogger with headphones. Everything normal. Peaceful. And that made me angrier. Because nothing in me was normal anymore. I walked into the office, our office, and opened her laptop. I didn't need a password. She never changed it. Arrogance makes people sloppy. I opened her email again. I didn't have to dig far. She'd forwarded Brandon a PDF of her exit plan, literally titled that, exit_plan_finances.pdf. Every bullet point was about me. Move savings to new account. Claim mental distress if needed. Push for full alimony. Use his loner personality against him. Brandon moves in within 60 days. 60 days. She had this all timed out like a military operation. What kind of person does this? What kind of wife? And that's when I realized. This wasn't just a betrayal. It was a hostile takeover. That night, I poured a whiskey, sat on the balcony, and made a list. A real one. Old school. Pen and paper. Just like Dad used to do when fixing engines. At the top of the page, I wrote one word. War. Step 1. Lawyer up. My friend Kevin, divorce attorney. Low profile. Ruthless. I messaged him. Need to meet. Urgent. And quiet. Step 2. Move assets. Already started. The joint account had been split down the middle. By me. Cash withdrawn. Transferred to a safe private account. Everything done legally, with timestamps and statements to prove I didn't steal anything. I was ahead of her for once. Step 3. Surveillance. I needed more than just messages. I wanted recordings. So I drove across town to a guy named Felix, a private investigator recommended through a friend of a friend. Ex-cop. Sleazy but sharp. I told him what I needed. Told him I didn't care how much it cost. He slid a small box across the table. Inside, 3 devices. Voice-activated. Micro-sized. Bluetooth synced. Plant, M. 1 in the house. 1 in her car. 1 wherever she spends her free time, Felix said, lighting a cigarette. You'll get everything. I walked out with fire in my veins. No more begging. No more mourning. I was done being the guy she pitied. By the next day, all 3 devices were live. And the first thing I recorded? Her on the phone with Brandon. He still thinks I'm just taking space. Poor idiot. Wait until the papers hit him. He'll fall apart. She laughed. Laughed. And Brandon? He called me a neutered mutt and said he might keep the house because the hot tub was nice. They were already discussing paint colors. My walls. My floors. My home. That's when I knew. This wasn't about love. It was about humiliation. She didn't want to leave quietly. She wanted to bury me. But she forgot something critical. When you push a good man too far, when you burn every bridge, you don't get a broken man back. You get a weapon. And I was locked, loaded, and ready. The first rule of revenge is simple. Make them think they've already won. So that's what I did. I let her waltz in and out of the house like it was still hers. Let her pick up random clothes. Let her leave lipstick-stained coffee mugs on the counter. Let her pretend she was thinking things through. She didn't know I had cameras now. Tiny ones. Hidden. Motion triggered. Installed by Felix's team. Legal, too, since the house was still under my name, and she hadn't officially moved out. I watched her on my phone as she FaceTimed Brandon from our bedroom. She spun in front of the mirror, modeling lingerie I had never seen before. You like it, babe? Can't wait till I don't have to sneak around anymore. Sneak around? She was practically turning betrayal into a sport. But that's fine, because every smug little moment she gave me was evidence. Meanwhile, Kevin, my lawyer, was building a file the size of a dictionary. Messages, emails, phone calls, surveillance timestamps, GPS logs, even financial leaks. Turns out she was funneling funds to Brandon's business. It wasn't a business. It was a front. Brandon was in debt. Credit cards maxed. Loan sharks sniffing around. That's why he needed her. Not for love. For money. And she? She thought she found a golden ticket. Let her think that. The next step in the trap was psychological. I started changing routines. I dressed better. Started going to the gym at 6 a.m. Left motivational books out on the kitchen table. Laughed loudly on fake phone calls with women who didn't exist. I even made dinner one night, steak, medium rare, just the way she used to like it, and left it on the table with 2 plates. When she walked in, she looked confused. What's this? I smiled. Dinner. Just 2 adults talking. No lawyers. No drama. She hesitated. Sat down. And for 20 minutes, we talked like strangers. Calm. Cold. Polite. Then, mid-bite, she asked. So, you're okay with everything? I nodded. Of course. I mean, if you're happier, who am I to stop you? Her eyes narrowed. She didn't trust it. Good. Because that night, I watched the camera footage of her pacing in the guest room, whispering to Brandon on the phone. I think he's playing a game. He's being too nice. Smart girl. Too late. She didn't know I had already frozen the joint credit cards. Didn't know I'd filed for divorce first, with full evidence of adultery, fraud, and financial misconduct. Didn't know I had changed the beneficiary on my life insurance policy. She was about to be left with nothing. And Brandon? Oh, Brandon was next. I had Felix dig deeper. Turns out, our buddy had warrants in another state. Fraud. Assault. Identity theft. One anonymous tip. That's all it would take. But I wasn't ready for that yet. I wanted them comfortable. I wanted them cocky. So I waited. Then I sent her a text. Let's meet tomorrow. I think we should talk face to face. Just you and me. No more pretending. She replied in seconds. Okay. Where? I gave her the address to a quiet hotel bar downtown. Neutral ground. Public. Perfect for what I had in mind. And when she showed up, wearing that same red dress from the night she first walked out, she smiled and said, "This feels like closure." And I smiled back. Because she had no idea what was coming next. She was 20 minutes late. Of course. That red dress clung to her like a weapon. And when she spotted me at the hotel bar, she gave that familiar little smirk, the one she used to flash when she thought she was in control. Wow, she said, sliding into the seat across from me. You clean up nice. I poured her a glass of wine. So do you. Red looks dangerous on you. She leaned in. I like a little danger. I could have laughed. She was still playing the part. Still performing. But the curtains were about to close. We made small talk. I asked about her job. She lied, easily. Said work was stressful. Claimed she'd been thinking a lot about us. About maybe fixing things. Fixing things? She didn't even blink as she lied through her perfect teeth. I've been confused lately, she said, stroking the glass stem like she was in a soap opera. Brandon is exciting, but you're stable. Safe. I think I need that. I tilted my head. You think you need me now? She nodded. Maybe I made a mistake. There it was. The backup plan. Now that Brandon was bleeding her bank account dry and sniffing around my life like a parasite, she wanted to crawl back. I want to come home, she whispered. I sipped my whiskey slowly. It's not your home anymore. She froze. What? Papers were filed 2 days ago, I said. With cause. You'll be served officially this week. Your lawyer should have told you. Her face went pale. I don't understand. Also, I cut in, Brandon's about to have a visitor. Someone in uniform. Maybe 2. I made some calls. She laughed nervously. You're bluffing. I pulled a folded sheet from my jacket pocket and slid it across the table. Want to read his outstanding warrants yourself? She picked it up with shaking hands. Her eyes scanned the charges. Fraud, battery, identity theft. Where did you get this? Friends in quiet places. But hey, you picked a real winner. Ambitious and younger, just like you said. Her jaw tightened. You set us up. I leaned forward. No. You set yourself up. I just let you dig your own grave. She stood up fast, knocking over her glass. Wine bled across the table like spilled blood. You think this makes you strong? She hissed. You think this makes you the winner? No, I said, standing slowly. But it sure as hell makes me free. She stormed out, her heels stabbing the floor with each furious step. And that night, it began. Felix sent me a video, Brandon being pulled from his gym in cuffs. Shirtless. Confused. Screaming something about a setup. Turns out, he'd been using fake IDs and scamming his clients for months. I forwarded the clip to her. No caption. No emojis. Just the truth in motion. She didn't respond, but I knew she saw it. The next day, her car was gone. She didn't return to the house again. Not for clothes. Not for closure. She disappeared. And honestly, it felt like I could breathe again for the first time in years. The silence this time wasn't empty. It was clean. But I wasn't done yet. Because there was still one more thing left to do, something I owed myself. Something I needed to say. Not to her. To the man I used to be. The house is quiet now. Not the uncomfortable silence from before. Not the aching emptiness that came with suspicion, cold dinners, and lies whispered in the dark. This silence is clean. Earned. Deserved. It's been 4 weeks since I last saw her. She hasn't tried to come back. No surprise visits. No voicemails begging for forgiveness. Just one hollow email. Can we talk? I deleted it without opening. She'd had every chance to talk. Every chance to tell the truth. She chose the long con instead. Brandon? Still locked up. Facing multiple charges. The gym closed. His Instagram account wiped clean. All that ambition and flash gone like smoke in the wind. I won't lie, part of me still hurts. Not for her. For the version of me that believed in her. I spent so long trying to be the man she needed, the man she wanted, the one who fixed everything. But in the end, I wasn't broken. I was just standing in front of the wrong person. Last night, I found an old letter she'd written me. One of those anniversary notes, the kind where she'd pretend we were soulmates. It ended with, "I'll never stop choosing you." What a joke. But instead of ripping it up, I burned it. Right there on the balcony. Watched the flame eat every word until it was nothing but ash drifting into the wind. Then I did something I hadn't done in years. I smiled. Not because I'd won. Not because she lost. But because I was finally free. Free from the performance. Free from pretending. Free from the version of love that demanded I shrink so she could shine. I thought I'd be alone after all this. That people would pick sides. Whisper. But it turns out, more people understood than I expected. Kevin told me his own brother went through something similar. My buddy Chris dropped by with a 6-pack and said, "You dodged a damn missile." Even my neighbor, quiet old Mr. Davis, just nodded one morning and said, "Takes guts to start over. Don't lose that fire, son." And I won't. Because here's what I've learned. Love doesn't lie behind your back. It doesn't laugh at your pain. It doesn't strip you down to nothing and walk away with the keys to your soul. Real love stays when things are ugly. It builds. It protects. And if someone tells you, "I only married you because I felt sorry for you," that person never deserved your heart in the first place. Let them go. Let the cowards and liars fade into the distance where they belong. And to anyone reading this, any man sitting in that kitchen alone, wondering if he's too much or not enough. You're neither. You were just loyal in the wrong direction. That's not weakness. That's strength in its purest form. The kind that makes monsters nervous. The kind that rebuilds empires from ruins. As for me, I've started painting again. Signed up for kickboxing. Met a girl at the park who laughs without faking it. Maybe it's nothing. Maybe it's everything. But this time, I'm not chasing. I'm building. For me. Because now, I know. Some losses aren't the end of your story. They're just the moment you finally start writing it for yourself.